Back at Silver Lanes here in East Hartford. Match number 2 of our final rounds of the Cambridge Credit Counseling Invitational. First match going is according to seeding plans. And now match number 2, the second seed, Paul Smith, steps in with his .220 average over the tournament against the 3 seed and winner of the first match, Thomas Coco Jr. Mark Robbins along with Don Harger. Don, as I mentioned, it went as to seeding form as we get a look at the first match winner, Thomas Coco. Does he have an advantage after this, going into this next match, as Smith, as you see entering our frame, has been sitting for the last 15-20 minutes?
As long as you win, you've got the advantage over the new guy coming in, right? So Thomas has 1 game under his belt, and he certainly knows how the lanes are breaking down right now. So, yeah, I would say he's got an advantage.
Paul Smith is 22-year-old out of Clinton, Connecticut, and he happens to be in the auto parts industry. If you happen to be over at Napa Auto Parts in Old Saybrook, you might find him there. Bowls out of AMF Saybrook Lanes, where he has a 23 300 games. He's been on the NEBA Tour since 2007. His best finish has been 3rd. So that means he'll tie for that. Should he lose, he could finish no worse than 3rd.
Exactly, and you're going to see a young man, Paul Smith, who puts every ounce of energy into a bowling ball, into his release. He gets a lot of power and a lot of torque from his lower body, his forearms and everything. It's one of the strongest bowling balls you're going to see going down the lanes, and I expect you're going to see that reaction carried over to the pins too.
Yeah, he's using a Columbia ball, and he is the 2011 JBT Bowler of the Year.
Well, it's funny because the Columbia bowling ball he's using is the 300 Mass Eruption, and what a great way to explain the way he throws the ball, because you're going to see it in just a minute.
Oh, we are. But first, it'll be the 3 seed, Thomas Coco, up against Smith. And the winner, and this is in effect the semifinal, the winner will meet Chris Soule, the top seed, in the championship match.
Now, Paul's another lefty, so here's the 3rd lefty on this pattern. We know the outside's been drying out, so Paul's going to use that to his advantage. He can get the ball left and watch this thing come back.
Coco starting this match, and that's probably, well, it's worst result in the tournament finals here.
Yeah, I don't think he caught it quite well on the bottom of this shot. Everything was going well, but I just don't think he stayed behind the ball with his hand, kind of squirted the hand out to the side, and the ball didn't finish quite as hard, but he left himself an easy spare.
A 257 for Coco in his previous match, the victory over Dave Forcier. And cleaned up nicely for the spare.
I'd forgotten to mention, too, Dave Forcier, his games to qualify were 278, 189, 207, 223, 200. Thomas Coco Jr., 197, 228, 181, 224, 234. And Paul Smith, 198, 229, 241, 189, 244. Get ready for Paul Smith.
Firing it down the lane and picking up 9. The 6th standing still.
So on your first shot, maybe you're a little amped up. I'm not sure exactly how fast that was. We don't have a screen that's telling us the miles per hour, but I would say that's about 17, 18 miles an hour. Here he comes. You're going to notice that he's right of the other players because of all that torque and power, and I'd say 2 o'clock roll towards the pocket.
Smith with a little bounce, and that sharp break picks up the 6 for the spare.
He's got to settle down right here. He's got to make a good shot, make sure his timing is okay. Watch this spare. The ball is rolling, rotating on, it's like it's 2 o'clock. It's actually a little bit to the right. It's going to hit dry right now and go dead right.
A very sharp break, and he gets that ball before it hits the ground. it's a good 2, maybe 3 feet over the foul line.
Exactly. I think he needs to put a blinker on that thing.
Smith, the 2C, here in the second frame. And how about that stubborn 7? And we've seen it quite often here on lane 23.
Exactly, on lane 23. So the characteristic of this lane is just a little bit different than 24. I think lane 23, it's going a hair longer before it snaps up. And when the ball goes longer and snaps too late, you're going to leave that 7 pin. You're going to see him make a great shot right here.
Even in slow motion, it's fast.
The power players actually keep their hand under the ball, and the strokers keep their hand behind the ball. So you're going to see the difference in contrast between these two players.
And with the spare ball, picks up the 7.
Hard and straight. Good way to start the match. Now Thomas's hand at the release point is more behind the ball, and you're going to see Paul actually get underneath, and his body has to get so low. And he puts probably 3 revs on the ball before it hits the lane. It's insane.
Well, Thomas Coco is the smoother of the two. It's a little more herky-jerky
Exactly.
for Paul Smith.
Yep. Both are effective.
Wow, and now the 7 stands on lane 24.
Interesting. So again, the third game bowled on the left-hand side right here. The oil is going to travel down the lane further and further, which means that the ball is going to go down the lane further before it hits the dry, and it's not so dry anymore. So when you bowl a lot of games, the first maybe 30 feet of the lane will dry out, but the back ends actually will get a little bit more tight.
Coco cleans up the 7.
So there's a couple of things that you can do when that happens. Now, if you leave one 7 pin like that, you may not change. But when you start leaving 2 and 3 in the same game, you better change something quick. You could move a little bit to the right with your feet. You can slow the ball down a little bit. You could actually change your hand position, and you could point your index finger more to the right of your body and get even a more 2 o'clock to 2:30 kind of a roll on the ball. So when it comes out and hits the dry, it really makes that sharp turn.
Coco here in the third frame. And there he got some help.
That was a good reaction on a good move. I think he moved a board or 2 to the right. He caught a little bit more head oil. He didn't get it out to the second, third board. That actually stayed about the third, fourth board. But he slowed down a little bit. The ball came up. It checked up. It's not going to come super hard back, but it's just going to come enough to where he's going to tickle the head pin and get that kind of a strike.
That's the first strike of this match in the 5th combined frame between these two. And Smith now in his third frame looking for his first strike. And he needs it to stay tied with Coco, and he has.
Excellent shot right there. I'll tell you what, at this level, you can throw a strike, and you have to understand the way the pins reacted. You might move. Even though you threw a strike, you might change something, whether it's speed or whether it's moving on the approach. He gets that ball over the 10th board on his side and actually goes out to the 3rd, and he cranks it all the way back. All that power, all that energy is stored on the bowling ball. It hits the head pin, and that head pin goes on the sidewall and just does all the damage. That's why you throw the high revs like that.
So Paul Smith picking up his first strike. We are deadlocked through 2 at 39 each for Coco and Smith. Body English helped on that one.
Great shot. After that left his hand, he kind of coached it up there. He didn't get it quite out to the far left like he did, but it actually came back just enough to carry a strike. Again, another good arm swing right through the shot. That ball didn't get quite far to the left. but because of the equipment he has and because of the speed he has, it did not go high into the pocket.
All right, here's Thomas Coco in
And
his fourth frame.
So far, we see both bowlers move their break point just a little bit to the right.
That's 2 in a row for Coco.
Excellent shot.
And these two have matched each other through 4 frames.
Great arm swing. He's about maybe 6 out to 4 on that shot right there. 6 at the arrows. The ball gets out to the 4th board, comes back nicely.
And what's amazing is they'll go over the same path, but because of their style of rolling or throwing, the balls react differently.
Exactly, and the equipment they're using too. You got to know your game, and you can't be influenced by the other person.
Frame 5 for Coco and a turkey.
Great shot. After a slow start with spares for both bowlers, they found a little something, whether it's the right speed, the right hand adjustment, whatever it is. But now, as soon as they lock in, they're going to be tough. That's why these guys are so good.
Coco ran off a string of 7 straight strikes in his previous match. And now, here's Paul Smith. He's got 2 in a row through 4.
You know,
trying to get the third.
The lane pattern dictates everything. If you remember our last tournament, the guys were way in towards the middle and they couldn't get it out. Here's a lane pattern just 4 feet shorter. The shorter patterns, you tend to go to the outsides.
The sharp break makes it 3.
Now, I'm not sure if he loved that shot, but because of the revolutions on the ball, if you hit the pocket with those kind of revs, your strike percentage increases tremendously. That went over 10, out to about 7, well, out to about 5, comes right back just as long as he hit the head pin. Look at the action he gets from that head pin.
So the bowlers continue to match each other, each now working on a string of 3 straight.
What he's doing right now, too, is he wipes the excessive oil off the ball every single shot. That way you have the same exact bowling ball surface on every shot. If you let that go one time, there's more oil on the ball. On the next shot, you're going to get a different reaction.
And he hurls one. And the 6 stands.
That was actually a really good break. That ball crept high. And we call it's a 4-9 for the righties, so it's the 3-8 for the lefties. And he just got a good break getting that 8-pin out. It's no longer a split. You're going to see this ball really doesn't get as far left as the other ones did, and it comes up a little bit high in the pocket. There's the 3-8. The 8-pin goes last.
And Smith looking to pick up the spare, and he does. And when you say, Don, when you say high in the pocket, for those that are not that familiar with that term, that phrasing, you mean it's hitting the head pin more directly?
Exactly. It's getting a little bit more percentage of the head pin. You want it to enter, for the lefties, you want it to enter the head pin and the 2-pin, the one left of it. 50% each. Boom, right there. That ball probably was about 75% head pin, 25% 2-pin, and then you start getting your ugly splits that way.
Well, here's Coco working on 3 in a row. If he can get a strike, he'll take the lead. And the 10 is stubborn on both lanes.
That is a bad
the
break.
7, excuse me.
He actually threw a great shot. Very bad break right there.
And this match stays even.
Right about 6 at the arrows, gets out to about 4, comes back. See, it's not biting so hard, but that's the piece of equipment that he's using. He doesn't want that big, huge break at the end. So that was just a bad break.
Cleaning up the 7, Coco, and again, we are deadlocked through 5 at 118.
And again, I know I've said it so many times, but at this level, those single pin spares, I know they seem easy. We all make them, but they're
What's
easy
this
to
weed
miss.
business? You do, not me.
They are easy to miss. And if you just lose concentration for a split second, you miss one, now you're down 20 pins. They make their spares.
Thomas Coco now with the 7th frame. Trying to get back onto the strike roll. We got a late break for the 7 to drop.
Yeah, that was a pocket 7-10 for a second there. He got lucky on the 7 pin. Something took it out. The ball's just not biting. And it's all the different spraying reaction. So Paul is right of where Thomas is, but he's taking the oil and he's shoving it to the left. And Thomas is starting to see that breakdown. He's not getting his bite in the dry. I think Paul is pushing his oil out a little bit more.
Coco clips the 10, and we remain tied through 6. Well, actually, no. We'll have to wait and see now. Smith rolling here in the 7th, coming off that spare in the 6th. If he strikes, he has the lead.
Right. There's really just a 1 pin difference in this match right now. You always assume the bowlers are going to throw a strike all the way out. So this is a nice close match, exactly what we were expecting. Now we all have pre-shot rituals that we go with. I don't think he's saying take it easy, go slow. I think he puts his toenails into every shot.
He holds nothing back. And he got help to take the lead.
A little bit high again, a big break. The speed and the revolutions cause all that havoc in the back. Pins come out all over the place. He got a lucky break right there.
So he takes the 1 pin lead through 6 at 138, 137.
That ball never gets left of 10. He went over the second arrow, but because of the speed he has, he was able to just hit the pocket, or just hit the head pin a little bit on the left. Any higher, that would have been a disaster.
Did he kind of roll it through the break fast enough so it didn't have the sharp break?
I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just a bad shot miss right, but good result. But you know what? Right now, you start talking to yourself, boy, I was heavy on the last 2 shots. Should I move a little bit? And in my opinion, I don't think he can throw it any harder, so I would think he's got to move a little to the right.
Smith in the 8th frame. He went Brooklyn and didn't get it.
Yeah, he chose not to move. That ball got right at target in a hurry. And I don't think he's able to hold the pocket right there unless he makes some sort of an adjustment.
The 4 pin is left. Look at it again. He started it too much toward the 3rd arrow.
Yeah, he didn't get the ball long enough down the lane to the left of that 3rd arrow. So that ball checked up and started rolling early.
Cleans it up. And 158 through 7 for Paul Smith.
If you're watching these matches, the pre-shot calculations is really what you got to pay attention to. You've got great camera angles here at CPTV Sports. You're able to see where they start, the way they walk, whether they drift right, left, go straight, their arm swings. Just pay attention of the way they actually go towards the foul line and how the shot comes out of their hand. And you could see in an instant whether they miss left, throw it good, miss right, whatever.
Eighth frame for Coco. A strike gets him into the match. And what happened there?
Just a little mishit on the bottom. I think he popped up a little bit. He didn't stay behind that ball.
Well, he's down 4 pins through 7 frames.
I don't think Paul's last 2 shots affected Thomas right there because Paul didn't get the ball out to the left enough.
How makeable is this split?
You know, at this level, it's actually not that difficult of a spare. He's going to actually move a couple of boards to the left with his feet, throw a strike ball, get the ball to hook and hit the 3-6, and hopefully that 3 pin is going into the 7. Just missed.
Well, he missed the 3. And the open frame opens up the lead for Paul Smith at 6+ pins into the 8th frame.
You might wonder at this point in the match why he actually went for that spare and not gotten 2. That's actually a fairly makeable split. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. If you left the 7-10, the 6-7-10, 4-7-10, you want to get count. You want to get your 2 pins and call it a frame. But the reason why he went after that in this part of the match is because we're so close, and it was fairly makeable. He just missed it.
Ninth frame roll for Coco. He came up short of the pocket.
Yeah, he's getting a little confused with the reaction he's getting. He's wondering why the ball is absolutely rolling differently than it did the first game and the first half of this game. It could be because Paul is shoving all the oil to the left. However, this might be a good time. Well, that one would have been a good time to maybe use that other ball, the other ball that he knows from the first game that actually finished a lot harder.
He got that one way out to the left.
He did.
He needs to have this. Can't afford 2 straight open frames, and he picks up the spare with some frustration added to it.
On the Professional Bowlers Tour, Jason Bamonte, Oscar Palermo, they're the guys who throw it with 2 hands and hook it more than anybody else ever did before. And from what they say, they destroy the oil pattern. The balls don't roll normally like we're used to seeing. They have so many revolutions and so much speed, and they're using so much aggressive bowling balls that the oil kind of sprays. And we see a guy like Thomas, who is more of a down and in player. You're seeing that kind of ball reaction affect his line.
Amazing that in a non-contact sport, the style and the aggressive style of one can affect the other.
Absolutely. There's a lot of variables that we don't see, the way the oil kind of moves on the lane.
Smith now picking up a big strike to start the 9th.
That was a great shot. Now you could see the difference between the 2 bowlers. Paul, with his revolutions like that and the speed, he can actually bring it back from there. He got that ball out to the 2nd, 3rd board. There it is. He's got the revs to come all the way back, hit that head pin, and watch the head pin off the side. All right? And you're seeing Thomas, who's a little bit more of a stroker, a down and in. He doesn't have that power when it hits the pocket.
Now through 8, Smith is on top by 16, 178 to 162. Plus, he's got the strike in the 9th against the spare for Coco.
Yeah, but Paulie's up about 26 pins, because if they both strike out, Paul's going to win by 26.
10th frame, first ball. Tricky 10.
That's a real good shot in that situation. You don't want to go high. You remember the last couple of times he threw the ball, he went high, he got lucky. That was a great shot. It wasn't safe. He made a good adjustment. He ripped the cover off the ball, hit the head pin like he was supposed to. Pick this up, you're in good shape.
Another look at the violence that is Paul Smith's approach.
And he's not even using that much of an aggressive bowling ball either.
Wow, did that break. I thought for a second it wasn't going to make it.
You did, huh? Well, I bowl with him on Monday nights in Wallingford, Connecticut, and I'm used to seeing that kind of reaction, so I wasn't worried.
I mean, this is a right angle. This didn't just change arrows.
We have to make a right turn,
lane.
dear. Why don't you put your blinker on?
No time. All right, so the spare in the 10th, 198 through 9, 208 plus whatever he rolls here for Paul Smith.
So Paul's got a possible 218. Thomas has a possible 212.
A strike wraps things up. Wow.
That's enough, though.
At 216, that will wrap it up as Paul Smith, the 2 seed, will move on. Coco finishing up with his spare ball. And a nice tournament for Thomas Coco Jr., who will finish in third place.
He looks dejected, I'll tell you, but he threw the ball great.
191 plus one more roll. First prize in this Cambridge Credit Counseling Invitational, $3,000. And that's a strong way to finish for Thomas Coco Jr. 201. He is done. And Paul Smith advances. The 2 seed will meet the 1 seed. It is as scripted in our championship match in a moment here on CPTV Sports.